What's up, guys? Happy Sunday.
Sunday. What's up? Now we have Jimmy Orama with us. So, Jimmy, take it off.
Hey,
Tell us a little bit about you.
Oosh. You what? Jimmy Orama, born and raised in a small town back east of Dover, New Jersey. Lived out there till I was about 23 years old, and then I moved out to Phoenix. Been here 30 years. My second marriage, I have a daughter from my first marriage, who's 28. My second wife came with 4 kids. We have 10 grandkids. I've been in the mortgage business for about 23 years. Lived in Central Phoenix for about 20, 22 years. I don't know. I'm an avid reader. I like to read a lot of different things. I came out here initially to Phoenix to go to college, and then with the intentions of going back to Jersey, but I had my daughter then, so I wasn't gonna leave. And then I ended up getting my bachelor's. I got my master's as well. Didn't really pursue any careers in what I got my degrees in because I just honestly it wasn't really interesting to me. I really went to school just because I was such a loser in high school, I mean, I really graduated like towards the end of my class, and I had to prove to myself, that dude, you're not a dumb guy. So it was more of a personal thing, all this education that I pursued. So and then yeah, I've been in the mortgage business for about over 20 years, happily married for 20 plus years, and pretty normal guy, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess.
That's how I met Jimmy. Is
Yeah,
Chase. We were on the same team. Our man, who was our manager's name? David,
John.
John. Yeah, God, I already forgot about him, but that's all right. Yeah, he's that was a long time
Yeah,
ago. I still talk to a couple guys from Chase, which is cool. Sean, Ben, Jeff,
yeah.
Josh, quite a bit, right?
hmm
The industry's crazy. We know that. Where are you working at right now?
So right now, before I forget, anything I say is of my own personal. I reserve all my rights, and this is all my personal view and opinions. It did not reflect or indicative of any of my present, past, or future employers in any way, shape, or form, or business partners thereon after as well.
Love it.
Um, I'm a 1099 with Swift Mortgage Brokers
Okay.
out of Gilbert.
Great company.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, so there's a lot going on in the world today. Jimmy, I followed you for a long time, even after the Chase days. Your stuff
Uh,
that used to be on social media, it resonated with me. Like I believe that stuff too. Like there's so much going on in the world that
hmm
we're being focused and told what's real, what's not, from
Yeah.
spiritual stuff, demons, angels, to what's going on right before our own eyes with the elites, right? So
hmm
it depends who you believe. If someone's going to call you a nut or a conspiracy theorist, no matter what. But
hmm
that's why I wanted to bring you on. I think you have a
hmm
great head on your shoulders when it comes to that stuff. And I want you to talk about something that's on your mind. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's funny. It's everything and nothing at the same time. And let me tell you how I kind of got there. My wife and I, one time I had access to one of those 500 channel type things, and I was looking at news all over the world. And I was looking at news literally in South Africa and all these different countries in Africa and in Europe with the English translation. And I got to tell you, I was pretty blown away that the bullshit that was happening here is the same crap that's happening over there. Literally the same political corruptions and scandals and blah blah blah. And it's all the same. And then so it really kind of woke me up to the point like, why am I giving this appliance all my energy? Why do I even believe these freaking people? How do I even know they're real? Why am I gonna let this appliance dictate my life? So I canceled my cable TV, my God, like over 15 years ago. And now when we occasionally watch television, it's only because, there's a particular show we want to watch. As soon as the commercials come on, I hit mute. Commercials are taboo in this house. We're just very conscious of what we allow into our awareness. People don't understand, or they forget, or perhaps they were never told that we as humans are programmable beings. We're programmable entities, and if we're not programming ourselves, someone else is. And so, we have more senses than just the five senses. And so I think these are meant they're kept dormant by by other, for I don't know how to say it, but there's a lot out there that people just really don't think about. They just kind of go through their daily lives without giving much thought to their actual life and what's going on, and what are they really doing? And then they kind of wonder why their lives turn out the way they do, because they're not aware of what's happening.
No,
And
I agree. I agree. I think right now, like the big thing that I was talking about last night with a group of people, I went and saw The Sound of Freedom. Good movie, by the way. Tough movie to watch. I went
yeah,
with a
sure.
buddy of mine who he's a big dude, but he was weeping, and I was like, "Yeah, this stuff really happens in third world countries, man. Like, wake up." But we were talking about slavery, right? Like, we're slaves in ourselves. If you think about it, we work 40 hours a week, 5 or 6 days
Hmm.
a week, depending on your profession, make peanuts compared, to a lot of the elites, and you're given a 2 week vacation, right? And you do this up until retirement age, 65, whatever retirement age is now, if you're lucky to retire. And then you
Hmm.
spend the latter years, the worst years of your life, health wise, on retirement. And
Hmm.
to that's pretty sad that we haven't
Hmm.
been able to figure a way to change that, right?
Hmm.
What's your thought on that?
Well, that's kind of a big, that's a big topic. I think people should really understand, um, the truth about what it is to be, a citizen, by the United States itself. The United States is more of, and I'm going to be very, very. I'm not going to go deep on this because it's not because I don't want to. But if you we were never taught to understand that the United States government, the best way to describe it is like an HOA that has grown into this monstrosity. And I can kind of leave it at that. We've given them this power and jurisdiction that kind of controls everything. And so we don't understand how the legal system really works. People don't understand common law. People don't understand maritime law. So the answers are out there, and there's a lot of efforts to bring the awareness, to increase the awareness of why and how society works, things like that. Um,
Society's
but
just
people
so
really
weird
have to
right
put in the
now.
work. Let me give you an example. Like the Social Security fund, a lot of people don't understand where that fund originally came from, where the initial gold came from, and that was actually from the king's bastard children, and that was money that was set aside for all of his kids like that. And that's kind of like wherein it ties into maritime law, and the government comes in. You're the bastard son, and that's why they only ask you your mother's maiden name, because the government is acting like your father because you don't understand your rights, et cetera, et cetera. I'm telling you, it's a deep rabbit hole, but people really need to understand how the system is set up. One thing I would recommend to get started is go out there and buy a book. It's called Meet Your Straw Man, and that's really the first step to understanding how the system works. Because really, all the government is a giant HOA, and they have their claws, they have the hooks in everybody. And people,
Everything.
what are people worried about? About these stupid sports. This is modern day Rome. All this sports. I mean, look at it. For all you sports people, I get it. My family is big into sports. I get it. I'm not knocking sports.
It's a
But if you
distraction
consider
though.
your life, but if you consider your life from a different viewpoint, if your life journey matters to you, you're gonna step back and not get involved in these arenas that are happening worldwide to really distract you from your mission. I mean, we're not just meat puppets. Back to your point, we're not designed to go to fucking work every day and pay and pay and pay. No, that's not what life is about. But no one stops to ask, man, well, why is it like this or why is it like that? Do you think people talk, these fucking politicians? Well, we're a nation of laws. Well, then, what kind of effort do they put into their educational system to teach us about laws? Where's the effort
None.
about common law when kids are small? Kids don't. People don't. If you don't understand your rights, you have no rights. It's as
None.
simple as that. It's as simple as that. People need to understand who they really are, and how the system really works.
Jimmy, let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
You mentioned that humans are programmable.
yeah.
Is this something that's programmed to us to to go to work 40 hours a week, get that 2 weeks vacation, be very ignorant of laws around you, and just really be a worker bee to society and for the elites?
Well, no, I think the programming is a little bit deeper. I think the programming is to think that's okay, is to think that's normal. That's the programming. And I've also noticed, when you step back from all the programming, because I'm telling you, television is public enemy number one. I'm telling you right now, public enemy number one is your television set. So I just have a different viewpoint. So, and I want to step back and I want the people who see this to understand I don't watch TV, I don't listen to the radio. And like I said, I learn what I want to learn. I let into my reality what I want to let into my reality. So I read what I want to read, and I'm very selfish in that sense, even with people. I mean, I'm cool with everybody, but everyone's, I don't want to know too much about you because then I know, you're a fart sniffer and this and that. People are just weird, I don't want to know too much about people. What
Yeah.
the fuck, man? I just want to be cool with you. And so, but sometimes you have to understand those boundaries with people. So thankfully, I'm the kind of guy that, once people, and I'm not trying to toot my horn, but I've been told this my whole entire life that, I'm kind of as soon as people meet me, like I know their whole life story within 2 minutes. So like literally their whole entire story. I know everything about them. And that's just kind of a gift that I've been blessed with. But I have to be very careful of my energy, of who I allow, because some people take my empathy and my compassion and they kind of leech onto it, and then they become vampires, spiritual or energetic vampires. And I've learned to really cut those people off. Some people, not everybody deserves your energy, not everybody deserves your attention.
I
And
100%
and we
agree.
shouldn't be selfish with that.
I 100% agree. I like that's the way you said it. Not everyone deserves your energy or attention, right? There's a
Absolutely
lot of
not.
teachers out there that they're your
You
friend
know,
today, but not tomorrow.
you know why? Because people don't understand the value of their thoughts, of their time, of their energy. And for the record, I'm guilty of it. I've been playing Metal Gear Solid. Well, it's hot as hell, but I've been playing video games all day because it's hot. But it's so I kind of waste my time sometimes as well. But I'm still very selfish with my time and energy, because I think you have to be, especially in today's world and all the things you see online. You don't know what's real. You don't really know what's not real. All the shit I see on TV and online, all the racism and all that. I'll tell you right now, I'm 56 years old. 95% of the racism that I've ever seen or experienced in my life has been on TV or online. I've experienced racism, yeah, up in Utah, way back, man. They were straight up racist, man. Back then, there were some nice people too. And then in this little town in Colorado, Vail. Those were the few times where I personally experienced racism. But that was, like I said, I'm 56 years old. It's so the point being that I don't really give too much energy that we have these racist problems and it's and that. No, that's kind of bullshit, man. How many people every freaking day have to deal with that? I'm not saying it's not real, but I don't think it's such a
Do you
need to
think it's
blow it
blown out
over
of
like.
proportion? It's over exaggerated?
I think so. I think so. Look, okay, now once again, I'm talking based on my experience. I work with the public all the time. It, I don't think along these. Like, if I meet somebody, I don't even look at at the color of the skin. I don't. Why do you even have to think along these lines? These are silly things.
So
This is my personal point of view. This is my point of view.
television, like when television keeps repeating this over and over to us, is it meant to be a distraction?
Well, okay, so I don't watch television, but that's why I don't watch television, because they want you to believe that shit. Television is all bullshit. Television is put together by a bunch of. I mean, think about it. Who runs Hollywood? Why do we give our energy to these people? I wouldn't give them the time of day.
Mhm.
These are sick people in Hollywood, and we're letting them into our house every day to put their bullshit line of thinking into my head. Get the fuck out of here. Excuse
So
my
what's
language.
the agenda? What is there to be gained from this?
The agenda is this is your life, and you need to take control of it. And don't give your energy away to a machine that you went to Best Buy, you plugged into the wall, and you sat there. That's not what life's about, man. Imagine if you didn't have a TV, what would you do?
You'd
I
be
mean,
outside doing stuff.
people don't know how to live their life
No,
without being told what to do or how to think or this or that, you know? I mean,
no. Going back to what you said, this world is just crazy with
it's
the
insane.
media is just throwing stuff at you. The whole left versus right, the whole Ukraine versus Russia.
There's no such thing as a left versus right. People need to get out of that mindset.
It's the
That is the
same thing.
silliest thing in the world. People need to forget that shit. There's no left or right. When the cameras are off, all these guys are bending each other over. I'm telling you, they're in the same club. It's them against us. All these guys went to college together. All these guys know each other. Are you kidding me right now? Do you really think they're going to be on your side? Look, man, these guys signed deals. These guys are compromised. I don't believe none of these guys. As a matter of fact, I unregistered to vote. I don't believe in the system at all. I think it's full of shit. Why am I going to give my energy to that bullshit system? No, I don't believe it. I'm sorry, man. Look, say what you will, but I think there's enough evidence worldwide that proves that voting is a fucking joke. It's
They
a
just want
joke.
you to have the illusion that your
the
voice
illusion of a
matters.
choice. You really think? Do you really think they give a shit about us? No,
We know they
come
don't.
on, come on, man. Do you think? Going back to this, I'm kind of on a roll here, but like it's the whole entire machine, Like I don't like how in these sports games, in these sports, they always tie it with the military, and they kind of tie war and making that like a patriotic thing. Well, how come they don't promote? I mean, I'm not trying to sound, naive here, but we could do better than that. How come they never talk about, hey, we're going to create some great negotiators to figure shit out? And here's why I say that. You're not going to tell me we don't have people in this world that are professional negotiators that can work all these problems out. You're not going to tell me. I'm not going to believe that. You're not going to tell me it's true because I'm going to tell you you're a fucking liar. It's bullshit, man. And war is okay. People don't even understand why we're at war. We just know, hey, well, we got to go over there and bomb some brown people and, about to take their land. What the fuck? People don't even know why we're at war. It's become normalized. It's become normalized.
It's
And yet, look at what's
profitable.
happening in our backyard. Look what's happening in our own backyards. Look at our veterans. What's happening? It's just ridiculous. This is planet crazy.
Well, a lot of
So,
homelessness, there's a lot of crazy going on just here right now that we need to take care of, but we don't, right? And
well, I think
California,
man, I can't believe, it's such a beautiful state and it breaks my heart. It is run by, well, dude, I mean, I have my theories. And again, I don't watch a lot of politics. I got my thoughts, but just based on what I see, I don't think those are real, 100% bona fide. I think the people running that place aren't really who we think they are. Let's leave it at that.
no, that's a
Let's
great
leave it
way
at
to
that. I don't
put
know
it.
what they are, but look what's happening. This is almost like a soft disclosure. Look at this new movie coming out on Disney, Secret Invasion. It kind of ties back to that series way back in the day. I highly recommend everybody watch V, the series.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's a lot of truth to these things, and people really need to wake up to what's right in front of us. I mean, I personally, my wife and I know a lot of people who've seen evidence of things that suggest that once again everything we've ever been taught is a lie, and it's a lie again because it's incomplete and it's meant to mislead us.
Jimmy, you're getting me excited right now talking about Secret Invasion and V. I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in. I'm telling you right now,
yeah.
I'm in. I want to hear more. Danny, what do you have?
I mean, you just mentioned like some of the things we're being taught as a lie. Can you give me any specifics, any examples?
I mean, well, with history, for example, so I found this very interesting, and I started looking into the mud flood and Tartaria and the Tartarian Empire. And then, you start to read, there's books out there like Forbidden Archaeology, Forbidden History. And there's just a lot of information that's been purposely omitted from history. So, let me do a quick sidebar, in my lifetime, I have seen a lot of people don't understand that, where our textbooks from school come from, and they come from one place in Texas, and these people pretty much set the rules and guidelines as to what's going to be written in the textbooks across the country. You can fact check me on this. I'm willing to be wrong, but these people are literally changing history. In my lifetime, I've seen these changes made. So that being said, that goes to show, imagine what else has been left out. So it kind of brings me back to Tartaria, and then you start reading about these old structures, like these old churches. And then I was reading this article. It was talking about cymatics, and it was talking about how these old churches and the pipe organs would resonate certain frequencies that would actually heal the organs, because everything is frequency, and so if something is out of frequency, it would kind of bring it back in line and kind of heal you internally. And then when you look at some of the windows that were before they were filled with the stained glass, it's kind of a cymatic symbol as well, to heal kind of the rest of the town. Were you ever told anything similar, close to that? Were you even taught to even think along those lines about these structures? I wasn't. I go to St. Patrick's Cathedral. I go to New York. I see all these structures. Now you kind of look at it a little bit differently. Like, shit, I was never taught that. And then you do the same thing with bells. The old church bells. When was the last time you heard a bell? They got rid of those bells for a reason. The bells along the same lines. This guy was in, for lack of a better word, this bell graveyard, and he walked up to a bell. This is online. And I was playing it with my wife, and the guy strung, and I could feel my whole body shake. And these are things that we were never taught. Things that they don't want us to understand. Well, why were these things never taught? Why were the bells removed? What are they? Are they trying to throw us off? Are they trying to get our frequencies off? These are things people don't even think about. These things.
Yeah, why did they get rid of it?
This is the nerd shit that, dude. This is, you look at reality a lot differently. You walk around the world and you look at things a lot differently. And people are always, they got their heads in their phones, and they don't even understand how to live their life without. And again, I'm guilty of it as well, because to an extent we need it to survive. So let's not, factor that out. But still, people kind of forget to live their life without this piece of metal, something to connect them to everything else. And I think that's, I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I got grandkids. These kids, they're glued to that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find.
Yeah, well, our
It's a
little
beast.
nieces and nephews are like 3 years old on these little tablets and phones. They're like glued to them.
It's scary, man. And people need to understand these devices are meant to rewire our brains. These people know what they're doing. There is a lawsuit out there. I highly recommend you look this up. It was filed in December 2019, Parcel versus Google. You got to look this up. It's about 92 pages. It was filed in the Southern District of California. It was dismissed about 3-4 months later by an Obama judge. But this thing, you got to read it, man. 92 pages, and it talks about this technology that exists, that within these cameras, they're able to map the back of our brains and our eyeballs and literally create these scans, so that they can create duplicates of us in other realms and other realities. This is what the lawsuit was all about. Whether it
Like
was
at
dismissed
realms
or
and
not,
realities. Like, God,
realms
you're
and
speaking to me
realities. So
right now.
literally using our likeness in other realms and realities. So think about this. When you sign all these agreements on all these freaking apps, how do you know you're not giving your permission for your likeness to be used in another realm of reality? Whether you believe this or not, the technology is out there. This exists. Look at the lawsuit. This is 4 years ago. Imagine where they are today. And this guy's no idiot. This guy, honestly, I forgot his background. I don't have it in front of me right now. But look it up. Parsa, Parsa, Parsa versus Google et al.
I don't want,
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing loss. Amazing.
Jimmy, I don't want to get off track here,
Yeah,
because
sure.
I really want to jump back into the whole V thing that we talked about, and Secret Invasion. Like, that whole show on Disney is about aliens trying to take us over. Like, if you could, can you elaborate on that? Because that's the rabbit hole I want to jump in.
can only speak from my personal experience and based on people that I follow and testimonials, et cetera, et cetera. But there's been times in my now, I'm an empath, and for the record, I didn't even know I was an empath. This is a true story. I was at a party one time with my friend Chris, and I forgot what the conversation was. And Chris made a comment in front of everybody. He said, "Well, Jimmy and I are both empaths," and then blah 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 blah, and then he kept on talking, and I freaked out because I was like, "Shit! I hope nobody asked me to empath them," because I didn't even know what that word meant, to tell you the truth. And then now I'm a little bit embarrassed because you think I would have known that, but I've always been an empath my whole life, and so I've always been able to feel energies on people. Um, I've always felt, along the same lines in that same realm. I've always felt a very strong protection my whole entire life, but I'm able to feel people's energies. And so there's been times in my life when I have felt energies where I literally almost can feel like that person's not even a real person, like not even a real human being. That's a weird thing to say. That's a weird thing to say. And I've been around millions of people. I used to hang out in New York all the time. So I'm around people, that's not a thing. But when you feel something like that, wait, something's up, something ain't right.
You were gonna say something?
I mean, I'm trying to understand, like you walk by someone, they don't feel like a real human being. Like, elaborate on that. Do you think they're not a human being?
Well,
They could be an
it's so
alien, they're a
it's
demon.
well, I mean, they could be both one and the same. I don't know, but it's one of those things. It's a sense that some people just haven't developed yet, or people just aren't aware that they have. But everyone has it. It's almost like you can just kind of sense their energy. You can sense their aura. You can sense their energetic field. Sometimes you meet somebody, at least for me, and you just kind of click. Like it's real easy to be their friends. Again, this is kind of like been my experience, throughout life. So it's easy for me to say this. It may not be easy for other people to say this, but I've always been one to kind of click with people right away. I can feel their energy. And for the most part, most people are really good. Some people are, you can sense their hesitation, and maybe the hesitation comes from a prior fear, from something, historical. So I sense things like this in people, but sometimes if you come across a brick wall, you're going to remember that brick wall.
I mean, is it just another way of calling it intuition?
If you want to call it that, I mean, I don't know. Women got that intuition. I wouldn't call it. Well, so when you think intuition, I'm thinking like women's intuition. You know how women just know shit. I
Well,
don't know how
it's
to.
not just women. I mean, intuition is
Well, yeah,
well
but
studied
like,
that you just have this gut feeling about certain
Gut feeling.
people.
Gut feeling.
yeah, if you want to call it that, if you want to call it that, my gut feeling, I don't. It doesn't really. Honestly, I'm kind of naive sometimes because sometimes I give people the benefit of the doubt, and I don't see that there's a difference between a liar and what I'm talking about. So I've been fooled in life because sometimes I trust people too much, and that's okay. So sometimes I'm not good at picking up when someone's lying to me because I would never do that to you. Why would you do that to me? That's my logic, which is again it's naive. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like you don't even feel like I can't connect to you in any way, shape, or form. There's just like a wall there that's not even really like or organic on a spiritual levels. It's not spiritually organic.
Did you
I just
see,
made that up, but that's the best way I can describe it.
Jimmy? Did you see the whole thing with that chick on the flight 2 weeks ago that said that guy in the hoodie wasn't a human or wasn't a real person?
Yeah.
It's crazy that they haven't been able to get her to interview or find out who that dude was or whatever. You think
Well,
she would interview, right? Or she's
yeah,
embarrassed.
she kind of this is another rabbit hole, man. There's been I've seen some stuff. I don't give it too much credit, and only because you brought it up. Only because you brought it up. But I've seen her tied to other quote unquote crisis actor scenarios. So again, it don't matter to me because I do believe a reptilian. So I don't. I do believe they walk among us. So that's not a hard sell for me. Whether that guy was or not, it don't matter because I honestly do believe that they've been here for a while.
And they're just studying us, you think? And they've
No, I think
infiltrated
no,
the government, maybe?
I think they've been here way longer than us. History proves they've been here way longer than us. There's tunnels underneath Los Angeles. Well, I mean, if you think about it, if this is kind of another rabbit hole, they say that there's truth in movies. If you look at a movie kind of like Cabin in the Woods at the very end, Sigourney Weaver is like, if we don't feed these things, they come up to feed, and so
Oh,
we for certain races, humans are considered a food source. I mean, that's just the reality of things. I don't like to say that, but it's these are we don't share this world with just me. I mean, we do share this world with other species, man.
can you imagine
People
like
need
they
to
have to
wake up
keep
to
it a
that.
secret, right? Because if they would tell humanity that, hey, there's someone that's an alpha, we're not alphas, and
Well, I
we have to
mean,
sacrifice.
I mean, yeah, I don't understand the politics because I know that I've heard of good quote unquote good reptilians, and there's bad ones, this and that. I mean, I kind of don't follow it. I do and I don't, because it goes into the whole Zachariah Richin with thing with Enki and Enlil, et cetera, et cetera. That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Mhm.
Something else I would recommend people, if you really want to go down the whole reptilian rabbit hole, there's another guy that I went down. His name is Wes Penry, Penre, West Penry, and he's got this website, the West Penry Papers. And if you're really interested in this guy did a phenomenal job of showing the history, the chronology of the history of all these reptilians, et cetera, et cetera. He did a really good job. There's another good interview out there with a Native American from Arizona, Robert Morningsky. He does another good job at explaining these things. And again, these are rabbit holes that, some people don't want to know about these things. Some people don't want to talk about them, and that's okay too. It's not for everybody. A lot of to go down these. What happens is you're really messing with people's foundation on reality,
Yeah.
and a lot of people just can't accept that. And so it's easier to just be dismissive and just keep watching TV and continue to be a slave because these are things that I just cannot deal with. And so you almost, you have to honor that. You have to respect that. This life is their journey. And so if they don't want to talk about it, then they don't want to talk about it. That's
Well,
that's
I
cool too.
believe extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So if you're saying there's reptilian
Mhm.
people, how can you prove that?
Well, I think there's enough testimonials and affidavits. I mean, look at the statues. I mean, there's statues all over the world. I think there's enough. You have to do your research, guy. I've been researching this stuff for years, for years. This is nothing new.
Yeah,
This is nothing new.
I
If you
agree.
remember, go ahead.
No, the whole thing of like the different pyramids in different countries have like the same like reptilian looking things, holding
Well, okay,
whatever.
but think about it though. I mean, yeah, the whole sacrificing of the baby. Well, okay, so what are they doing? They're sacrificing virgins to the gods. Okay, well, gods never die, and babies are the closest thing as to virginity as you can get. Why would that change? Well, you think the gods moved to another planet? You think they went someplace else? That's still going on. That's still going on. And these are things that, again, it's Planned Parenthood. They're tied into it. And it's all, people need to understand the spiritual aspect of what's happening in society. Children are and then, so this ties into the spiritual war. And children are the most closest, purest thing to God on this earth. And so their efforts are all geared around destroying. I'm going to get all emotional here. Destroying the most beautiful thing in the world that God created, and they're going after our kids, and that's what this movie is all about. I mean, this movie didn't even cover. It's heartbreaking. It didn't even cover what they do to these kids. They literally consider these kids to be cattle, and then it's used in these. It ties into the energy and the blood, and these are things that people were never taught. You really need to make the effort to understand these things, these other worlds, how the enemy thinks. A person that I follow, in my spiritual journey here on earth, she says something really interesting. She says, all of God's army, everyone in God's army has a gun, but nobody knows how to shoot because people don't understand how that system works. They don't understand how the enemy works. And so there's people who have since come over, and found Christ and come over to Jesus. And they tell you, hey, this is what I did. They give you the whole playbook. They show you how that side works. And when you have this understanding, you look at everything in reality a lot differently. You know, you look at the music industry a lot differently. There was a guy that I followed. I forgot his name, Greg Wood or Jim Wood, and I can send you his information. But his family owned one of the recording studios, and this is really interesting. People need to look at things a little bit differently. He said that one of the reasons that after the recording, after an artist would record a record, it would take so many days to release it. And he talked about how they have one room, a special room in the studio where it was kind of a ceremonial room where they would make the masters. And what they would do is they would do these rituals where they would summon a demon and they would put that entity into the masters before they're burned and they would distribute them. So then when these records are played worldwide, they're releasing these demons into the world via these songs. So a person wouldn't even think along these lines, but this is how that world works. And if you know, shame on the church for not telling me. No one ever taught me that. I had to learn that from the other side. The people need to understand. They need to do their own part and be a little bit more wary of what they do. You know.
No, good point.
One of the reasons these demons are allowed to operate in the world is because people don't understand. We don't know how to fight back. We don't know how to reclaim the land. You know, I can go on. You know.
No, we're going to use that energy for next segments that we have you,
Yeah.
you know, on. Let's just, you know, tackle, you know, the reptilians more next time, and keep
Yeah.
this.
Cool, man.
I want to talk about Antarctica down the road. So let's put that subject out there. Do a
Yeah.
little research on that. I have what my thoughts are, and we'll see. We'll compare notes next time.
Let's talk about why John Kerry went down there the day Orange Man won. What's the Secretary of State doing down there? You know? Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's all we have for this week.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I hope, God, I hope there's a good takeaway. I mean, man, I can go on and on. There's a lot of things we can talk about, but hopefully we can, you know, maybe structure it a little bit better next time, so I
Yeah.
can kind of build upon
I put you on the spot this
the
week.
way I think. You know, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I put you on the spot. I want to keep you on though.
30 minutes is just not enough time, right?
No, yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, like I said, whatever you want to talk about, I'd love to talk about the reptilians, man. Yeah, they're
Oh yeah. Oh, do you caught my attention with that? I was like, I want to know more. But I want to talk about Antarctica. I want to talk about aliens. I mean, you're the guy to talk to about that. I love your stuff on that, and you're so passionate about it too. That's why you know, I like watching. I used to watch your stuff, and then you kind of disappeared for a while. And then I called you and said, "Hey, I want to have you on because I think our viewers would get some value from it, right? Like it's just something to talk about."
It's funny because I remember when we first, I know we got 2 minutes left, but I remember when you talked about it, about me coming on, and I was like, you know, dude, you know, you talk about a lot of stuff. I don't know if the people are ready for me because most people, you know, it's kind of a lot for a lot of people. And so it's kind
Not
of
their choice. We're
hopefully
throwing you out there.
hopefully this will be a soft introduction, you know, but it's okay though, because this is the journey. You know, part of this knowledge is also it's kind of a spiritual journey in the sense that we're going to rediscover who we are and why we're here. And we're not meat puppets, and we're not here to work for these fucking factories who don't give a shit about us, to be run by an HOA called the United States government. You know, we need to understand who we are and step into our power as, you know, emissaries of Christ. Man, we need to we're in a spiritual war. We need to reclaim our land.
All right, Jimmy. So I'm
All right, guys.
I'm 100% down to have you again. I love your stuff.
Mhm.
We'll be better prepared. Again, we just threw you on today, and
Okay.
you were blindsided, but you did awesome. We'll have topics next time, and then
sounds good.
Let's keep it going, brother.
All
thank
right,
you.
brothers.
Take care.
Have a good day, man. Thanks.
Bye.